guys, welcome back. So today's video is going to be my WIP Parade. So I have counted, I have 18, I can't remember if it's 18 or 19 WIPs. I have left the ones that I've kitted up but I haven't started in my box. So you would have seen at the start of this video, hopefully, a little clip that shows where I store my WIPs. Now all of my WIPs are stored in an ottoman next to my bed. Now I need to make sure, I am in one bedroom. I work at a boarding school, so I need to make sure that anything I use can be used for a practical sense. So my ottoman, it is used for storing my WIPs. You can use it as an additional chair. I use it as a step to reach the stuff on top of my bunk bed. I also use it as like a nightstand, so I can put my laptop on it, I can put a bottle of water, etc. So these things are so versatile. It's also right in front of my stitching chair, so I can put my feet up when I'm stitching. It is just so comfortable. So I have two of them, one that stores my WIPs and one of them that stores my charts, so I can make sure that I'm also limited to that amount of stuff. If I can't fit anything else in there, it means I can't buy anything else, or I can't start anything else until something is out of that box. So that is how I store my stuff, and I am just going to jump straight in and show you the WIPs that I have. Some of these WIPs I haven't touched for ages. Some of them I'm not sure if I'm even going to carry on, but at the moment I'm going to put them back in the WIP box, and I will make a decision closer to the summer when I have to pack up and move everything out of here, whether I decide to keep it. Now I can't remember the last time I did a WIP parade, and you would have seen that some of the WIPs that I have had in that one and not in this one. Now there's multiple reasons. One, it could be I finished it while I was unwell and just wasn't filming FlossTube. I can't remember what I finished and what I haven't shown you, to be honest. So it will probably pop up when I do a finishing for it. Or a lot of them I actually destashed. So some of my friends took some of them with the fabric threads and the chart. I gave them everything. A couple of the kits that I hadn't started that were sitting in my WIP box that I just knew I wasn't going to stitch, I dropped off at a local charity shop, or I just dekitted it, reused the fabric for something else. The threads have been taken back and collected and back in my stash, and the pattern will be in the pattern box. So we are going to jump straight in, and I think it makes sense to show you the first WIP, which is actually my current WIP that I'm stitching. Hopefully won't be a WIP for too much longer. Is Clementine the Fox by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. You'll probably get a little bit sick of seeing this one. I think I've shown it every day for the past 4 days. And she is nowhere different to when I filmed my FlossTube for day number 10, because it is currently still day number 10. It's actually 5 minutes after I filmed that video. So she is still in the same place. She is stitched on 14 count mint Picture This Plus with the called for DMCs, except for I had to make one change as I didn't have that DMC in my stash. Not all of these pieces I can remember what I have stitched them on or what I've done. If I can remember, I will tell you. If you would like to know something and I haven't mentioned it in this video, leave a comment down below and I will find it out. I do have a record digitally, but I can't access that at the moment and do the video. The video would just take too long. So the next piece I have is probably one of my oldest WIPs. So this is a Mill Hill Hocus Pocus trilogy, and it is Mimi the Witch. It was one of the first Mill Hills I started. One of the only ones I haven't finished. For ages I couldn't really get back into this one, but I did stitch a lot of this in the summer, and then I just fell out of Halloween. So I'm not the biggest fan of Halloween. I definitely need to do some Halloween stitching because I realised I don't really have any options for Halloween decorations. So this is something that when I'm back in the mood for Halloween, I will definitely be pulling her out. There really isn't that much left. I've got her face and her head, and then I've just got the bead work to do in order to finish her. So definitely something that I should probably get finished quite soon when I actually start it, but I'm just not in the mood for Halloween at all at the moment. I am going to be putting things away as I go along, just because otherwise this video will have a complete mess afterwards, and I've got to go back to work in an hour and 10 minutes now, so I need to make sure I can just chuck this all back in the box at the end and be done with it. So the next one I also started this year. This is Hands-On Design Resting Witch Face, which I think is an absolutely gorgeous chart. This I started and then just decided I didn't want to be stitching Halloween at this point in time. This is on a 20 count, no, it might not be 20 count. That looks like a 16 count, sorry. Grey Ada. It was just a random piece that I would have got off of a kit somewhere. So it's just a random piece that I have in my stash. And what I am actually going to do is I'm going to reclaim the needles as I am going, because I don't want the needles sat in my fabric forever. So those are 2 Halloween pieces so far. This is in no particular order, it's just how it came out of the box. But Halloween is definitely, as I said, they can wait until next Halloween when I fancy stitch them again. The next piece I have is a caterpillar cross stitch piece. I tend to try and keep my caterpillar cross stitch pieces in the Carlos the Caterpillar bag. So this was actually one that I started recently. This was for Caterpillar Cross Stitch do their virtual stitching evenings, and this one is the Jingle Bell Toy Emporium. And these I'm actually changing the size, the fabric size of mine. So I'm just going to put that needle over there, and I'm stitching mine on 20 count Pearl Grey Ada. I do apologise, I do have threads hanging from this. I stitched it in that evening and then I put it down and haven't touched it since. But I am stitching these a lot smaller. It's normally called for 14-16 count, which I'm not sure if you can see, but behind me I do have 2 pieces from this same line, and I stitched them on an 18 count, but I wanted to go even smaller because I actually want to mount these onto little pieces of wood and have them as a village Christmas scene. So I will be restitching the ones that I have stitched, and I know this year I stitched the Cedar Lodge and have finished that one. So 1 down in the new size, and that's my new one. As for project bags, I'm sorry I didn't mention, most of them are handmade by me, or I bought them off of Amazon UK. These look, you get these in a pack of like 10, I think, in a pack, and I just find these are so useful. This one I don't have a picture for, and I'm not even sure if I could find a picture for it. Everything's got caught up on this one. I'm just going to leave that there. So this is I want to say it's a During Jones piece, and it is, I've stitched this on I think 20 count Pearl Grey Ada. I do apologise, I haven't stitched on this since Christmas and it was clearly not folded very well in my bag. But this is one of the ones I found from the Cross Stitch magazine. I haven't seen it anywhere else, so I'm stitching this off of the Readly app, which is why I don't have a picture of it. And this is going to be a kind of a plate stand. It will have a section where you can put like the glass of milk, the carrot, the mince pie. So I thought that was really fun to stitch. I am going to change it because I don't think I'm going to put like a name on it. Because originally I was thinking I was going to stitch this for a friend's little girl. But then they, like, I just didn't end up stitching it, and I think the reason I stopped stitching it is she told me that she like ordered something special online, so I just put this to one side. But I do think it's fun to stitch. I do think I want to stitch it because who knows, I may end up using it for my own decorations, or one day in the very far off future I may have my own kids and decide I want to put something like that out. So why I have it and why I remember it, I am going to get it finished, but it is no longer a priority to do. So the next one is an ongoing project. I found this on Amazon when I very first started cross stitching. I didn't realise how much of a gem I'd stumbled across. But this is the Heirloom Christmas Stocking, and you can get these individually on the Cooler Designs or on 123 Stitch. They sell the printed charts. But in this book there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There is 9 of the stockings. And I'm currently stitching see if I can find it, the heirloom study one. So I started this in the summer. I'm stitching these on the called for fabric, which I believe is 25 count mushroom Lugana, and I'm using the called for threads, but I haven't got any further than I did before. So I've left the space to put the name tiles in, and I came down and I was stitching the window. So this is such a nice piece. I think I'm going to try next year to get at least one of these finished. I want to stitch multiple. I've definitely decided, I think for myself, I wanted to do, this is the one that I will do for myself in the future, which is the Stitches Studio. But I do have plans to do these for other people as well. So that is an ongoing project. That one will just be around in rotation. I'm not racing to get those finished. The next one I have is actually a series. Now this was one of the first pieces that I started, a large piece that I started, and this is the Loose Feather series. So I've taken out the charts that I've already stitched. I don't intend to stitch all of these anymore. I was going to do the entire series, but what I am doing for this is I'm turning it into kind of like a family sampler. So first of all, this is stitched on 16 count Chromatic Alchemy in June. It's an Ada. This piece of fabric, I'm just going to, that is how wide it is, but it is double the length, so it is quite a large one. I currently have, I'm not sure if you can see that or if it's in frame, I have 2 pieces finished and one that I'm still currently working on. And what I decided was each block was going to have the initial of a family member. So not every block will have one, but I've designated one block to each. So this one has the letter A, so this is for one of my sisters. The next block is kind of, it's my block. And I love this block, but also this house reminds me of an old schoolhouse, like an old boarding house. And my boarding house does not look anything like this, but because of that I decided to have this block as my own. So I put the letter B in the middle. And the one that, I don't know why it's not finished, I really need to work that out. So I'm trying to wrestle all of this fabric under control. Is this block here where I've changed the letters, and this is going to be my family's surname block. So I did change multiple colours of letters around, so that way the family name stood out. However, it still went along with the same pattern of different colours here and there. But I absolutely love the fabric choice I made. I love the colours that this uses. I don't know why I haven't pulled this back out, and I think next year I would like to get back to this, because also it's on 16 count, which means I can see it. I can see the fabric quite easily on this. It's not too difficult to see. I think the biggest trouble I have is the fact that that piece of fabric is so big. So if I stitch in hand, I get caught up with it. If I use a Q-snap, it's just really heavy. If I use my frame, I'm just getting caught up in the fabric. So I need to work out a way that I'm comfortable in stitching that again. But at the moment, I definitely want to see that as a piece next year that I pull back out and get to work. I don't want to give up that piece. I just haven't reached for it in forever. This next piece is a little bit of a one for me where I'm like, I don't know what to do with this anymore. I absolutely love the piece. This is the Platinum Jubilee piece by the Primitive Hair, and I started this on the Queen's funeral. I was looking for a piece to do in memory of the Queen. For the Platinum Jubilee, I did some pillows that I finished. One was a beaded embroidery that I designed myself, and the other piece I got from Etsy. I can't remember the name of the designer for that, but I will show that when I show my finishes at some point. So I started on this one, and I love the fabric that I chose. I had this piece of fabric in my stash for such a long time. It is 18 count Lakeside Needlecraft manuscript, so it's got this like grungy writing on the back. And this is so intense stitching. This is how far I got in kind of the week and a bit after the Queen's funeral. So I had outlined all of the neck, and I'm now just on filling in the neck portion, so I don't even have to worry about that part too much. I've got the outline of the face done. I need to go in and do the confetti colours in it. Then I've got the hair and the crown to do. So this is a manageable piece to stitch, and I don't want to say the word enjoying the stitch because of the meaning behind it, but it's not a difficult piece to stitch. You do have to be careful of your colours. I'll show you all of the colours are very similar in tone, except for obviously the red that really stands out. And there's one colour missing from there, which is this one, which is the neck colour here. So you can see they are like very neutral colours, obviously, except for the two at the bottom. But the question I have now is, with a piece like this, what am I going to do with it? Because even though all of my pieces currently, unless they are Christmas ornaments, currently have been going in the under the bed box. Like, I just have a bag that I've been putting my finishes in. I haven't actually done anything with them. But I stitch with them with the intention of when, and not anytime soon, but when I leave this type of job, and I have my own place, I would want to have my stitching out on display. So I stitch them with the intention that they are pieces that I like, and I may end up using them in decoration. Now, I am not a finisher necessarily. I enjoy the stitching process, and that is why I stitch. So I'm pretty happy to pick up multiple different types of projects and stitch on them. But with that one, the thing that I'm struggling with is, what am I going to do afterwards? Because I have my Platinum Jubilee pillows, and they're quite small, so I could put them out in memory, things like that. And I guess I could turn that into a flat fold and do that as well, and it can be like a memorial piece. But it is one that I am a little bit unsure, so I don't want to give it up yet. I'm not going to make it a priority to finish stitching as of this year, because there's only a little bit of time left, and I don't think any of these pieces will actually be finished this year. Some of them could probably be finished early next year, but I don't know. So I'm unsure about that piece as well, as to what I'm actually going to be doing with that. The next piece I have is a series that I was doing last year until I fell ill. They're getting done monthly. So I have the April Puntini When I Think Of series. This was When I Think of April. And I was stitching all of these on 16 count beautiful beige, so they're matching fabric. And I was stitching them as, sorry, I'm just getting rid of that. What was I saying? Yeah, so I stitched this on 16 count beautiful beige. I didn't necessarily use the cord for colours, because what I was doing was pulling colours from my stash that kind of match. So obviously the 310, the black is the cord for, but I'm not sure. I've got all the threads that I was using in the bottom of the bag, because this is when I used to kit up each project and have the threads bobinated, whereas now I have changed that system, and I'll talk about that another time. So I'm just pulling for this colours that look like they will go with it. So some of them I've used cord for, some of them I'm just picking out. This is something that next year I would like to get back to, because I'd like to have one finishing piece and be able to interswap those. And because I've got January, February and March already stitched, I think if I was to start April in January and get that finished, because that is already halfway done, most of the stitching is in the word and the big watering can, which the watering can is nearly complete, and the word is done. So then it's just the small things around the edge and attaching the buttons. So I could get that one finished and then just move through the series, and I think that would work out quite well. So definitely need to have a look into pulling that one out in January. That actually could probably be a finish before the end of the year. Do I think I'm going to do it? Probably not, in all fairness. So the next piece I am stitching is a series, and this is the White Christmas series by Hands On Design. So I do have in this bag the charts from the series that I haven't done that I have. So I have a couple more to be doing. And I am stitching these on 16 count Ada in French Country Golden, and it's a Permin fabric. And for Luminary Lane, I have just got a little star on that one. These are quite small, quite easy to stitch. I'm not 100% sure as to why I haven't stitched them. I think I just put them down and decided I wasn't going to change my Christmas decor. I thought at one point I was going to change my Christmas decor on my tree this year, but I ended up sticking with the gingerbread. And I have 2 pieces in that series that I've already finished that are just still sat in this bag for now. What I tend to do is, if it's a series, I will keep everything all together, and then when I have finished all of the stitching on all of the ornaments, I will finish them all so they match. That way I know how much I'm going to need of everything. The next one I have is a Boffy Threads kit, and this is probably the most embarrassing start I'm going to be showing you guys, because I have got next to no stitching done on this. I don't even know if I can really call this much of a start. So I'm just going to put my needle in my pin cushion. This is the Ho 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 Christmas card series, and it's the one with the bunny rabbit on it. And I bought quite a few of these, not because I was going to turn them into Christmas cards. Yes, I think they would make adorable Christmas cards. I just don't really have anyone that I can send stitched cards to. I think my members of my family will like it, but I don't think it's the best use of my stitching time. Whereas my plan is to actually not stitch the writing. I'm just going to stitch the animal, and then I am going to finish them as Christmas ornaments, because I have a feeling people will enjoy the Christmas ornaments a little bit more. They're practical, and you can get them out each year, whereas a card, I find that, especially in my family, they tend to either not keep the cards, or the cards will stay in the box and they just don't come out, so they end up, if they've got special cards, they don't get displayed. Whereas a Christmas ornament could be displayed very easily. But that is all of the stitching that I have currently done. Luckily, I have a working copy in here of the chart, and I've marked off the stitches I've done, because otherwise I'd be spending a lot of time, and I've just realised that's upside down. I started in the bottom. I would spend a lot of time trying to work out where that was, but clearly I have started on the bottom paw. So I have quite a few of these. Boffy Threads kits, I find a little bit, for me personally, I prefer a coloured chart, so I find them a little bit difficult to read, but they are absolutely stunning. And that series I will be picking up throughout the time. I have quite a few of them. I didn't buy the new releases because I know they're going to be around for a lot, so I didn't panic buy them. But if I hear that they're going to remove them for any reason, I will definitely buy the ones that I don't have, because I think they would look really good on a tree. Next up is one of my own designs. This is actually the freebie charts that I have released this year, and I should probably get around to stitching this one, I just haven't. So these charts, there are 5 designs. I've put them in one PDF. They are in the description box of every one of my videos of this Flossmas series, and it is Nutmeg Adventures, which is this gingerbread character right here. So this is the one that I am currently working on. There's 2 in this series that I haven't stitched yet. So you've got Nutmeg's cushion, and then you've got, let me put it the right, oh, I did have it the right way. And then you've got this Joy. And this character here, this little guy, I can actually pull it over to show you, is Nutmeg himself. So this is the 3 that I have already stitched. So you have Nutmeg, I'll just move my hands out the way, and I finished all of these into little cushions. This is Nutmeg Joy. He's holding his little Joy Christmas cookie. I'm obsessed with iced Christmas cookies this year. And Noel, where he's holding a Christmas cookie. So they are just on display with a Shannon Christine Designs Cookies for Santa that I stitched. These are all ones I stitched in the month of November. And yes, I have just put potpourri at the bottom. Do I know if that's going to damage my cross stitching in the long run? I don't know. When I store these away, it's not going to be stored with the potpourri, but it does make my room smell absolutely lovely. So put that to one side. But for the WIP Parade, the one that I need to show you, I've got no further than when I last showed you. I've just been so immersed in everything else, but I definitely need to pull this one back out. And all of these I'm stitching on 16 count Ada chalkboard black. So it's not a full black, however it still looks gorgeous. And for most of my threads, I keep them, I used to bobbinate, I now keep like a master DMC set, but my gingerbread series, because I use the same colours for any gingerbread pattern, all of my gingerbread stuff goes in the same bag. So the ones that I am currently stitching always go in the same bag. So that way I have my floss ring with all of my gingerbread colours that I use. And this is what I've perfected over the years. So all of mine have the threads and I use the same ones. That way when I display them all together, they always are going to match. The next one I have is actually probably, except for my frosted pumpkin, is one of my newest starts. I can't remember this is a Permin country French fabric again. I think it might be in latte, and I'm using 321 to stitch this. I'm sorry, this is Quaker de la Ferme by Jardin Privé, so I will insert a photo up here. I bought this as a PDF on her website, and I have to say I now understand why everyone was saying that you should always have a red sampler. I love the way this red stands out. This is DMC 321, which is my favourite red. I have a cone of this red that I bought when I was in France, but I absolutely love this. So haven't got too far in this. This is definitely one that I'm taking away with me because it is just so nice to have just one colour and not have to do colour changes. Another one that is just one colour, this has been a WIP for quite some time, and probably will be. This is Heartstrings Samplery My Shadow. This was, I think, was probably my unicorn chart, and I was looking everywhere. At the time, I didn't realise that Beth Twist had her charts as PDFs. This was when I very started stitching. I saw this, someone had posted it on Facebook, absolutely loved it, and decided this is the chart that I really, really wanted to find. I spent weeks searching, and I finally found someone pop up on eBay selling this, so I grabbed this one. I'm stitching this on 20 count Chromatic Alchemy in Cassia Rosa, and I am loving it. So I have used Sulky Black and DMC, I can't remember the shade, for the pink, which you can't really see the pink when it's on its own, but it will stand out when it's stitched in black. And what I've done for this one last summer is I stitched all of the pink on the inside, so the heart and the words that go all the way down here, and then I just have the outline stitched, and then what I've been doing is just filling it in. So I just have the sulky thread and I just fill in chunks of it here and there, so I've just got to work my way down. Absolutely love this one. The only thing I'm struggling with is I find 20 count with my eyesight as it is at the moment a little bit difficult to actually see. So I'm not entirely sure as to whether I'll be taking this one or not, just because I do find it difficult to see. But this one I'm not too worried about. I just pick it up here and there and it will eventually be filled in. It's just a lot of filling. The next one is the Drawn Thread. That one definitely is upside down. This is the Kitchen Garden by the Drawn Thread. And I can't remember the count of this fabric. It's 20 count. Sorry, but I can't remember the name of this fabric. But for this one, I am choosing my own colours. I've gone through, because I was through a stage of buying like the specialty threads like Classic Colourworks, Gentle Arts, and not really having a use for them. I just really wanted to like pick them up here and there. So if I was placing an order and I was like £3 away from shipping, I would just throw one in the basket. And what I did was I put them all on I picked out ones that look similar to the photo. And I just have a floss ring full of colours. So these are not called for at all, but they're just ones that when I looked at the chart, I was like, okay, I need this many types of green, I need this many, and I am just randomly pulling them as I go. Right, so I've just realised that my camera cut off, so I have no idea how much of that one you saw. So this was the drawn thread at the kitchen garden, and as I was saying, I am randomly picking the colours. So when I wanted to start this project, I picked the amount of different greens I'd need, I picked the amount of different colours I would need at random from my stash of Gentle Arts, Classic Colourworks, Wheats Dye Works. I think there's even some hand dyes in there, and I just randomly picked them. The difficulty I'm having is I'm finding it difficult to see the fabric. It's a 20 count, and at the moment anything above 16 count is a little bit trickier for me to see. Hopefully as things settle back into place next year, I'll be able to repick these up. The other thing I'm struggling with is the chart. The chart is a black and white chart, and at the moment, if it's not in colour, I'm really struggling to see it. It's okay on something that is very small, very simple, and where I'm not having to try and work out the colours, but I am struggling to tell the difference between some of my greens. So that piece I've just put away for now, and I will pick back up when I am ready to. The next one, I'm not even sure why I really started this, because I love this chart, don't get me wrong. This chart is definitely going to be stitched. The why I'm saying I don't really know why I started this is I kept telling myself this summer I was going to stitch this one because I signed up for it when it first came out. However, that's when I first started falling ill with my health issues with my eyes, so I couldn't actually stitch it. This is the Autumn Lane Stitchery, the Dark Queen of the Seas. It's absolutely stunning. I definitely want to stitch it. I have the called for fabric, I have the called for threads, I have the beads, I have everything. This is on a 28 count Lugana, but I thought I would stitch this over the summer. I didn't pick it up over the summer. I had so many other things that one, I didn't get a whole lot of stitching in, and then when I was stitching, I decided I needed to get to work on stitching people's Christmas presents or birthday presents. So that is how far I got, is the, not even sure if you can actually see that, it's the little fish. I haven't even got the one little fish done. So it is like the smallest start ever. I absolutely love this fabric, the colours are gorgeous. And I said to myself, like, don't start it, just wait until the Dark Queen of the Earth comes out, and when that is stitched, you can then stitch this one. But for some reason, I really wanted to start it. I then put it aside because the Dark Queen of the Earth one came out. Little spoiler, I'm not caught up with that one. Actually, let's just jump straight into that one. So I'm keeping that one in a bags plus. I did bobbinate the threads because this one is a year-long project. I decided I would bobbinate the threads. I would assign the threads rather than take them from my master set. I bought what I was missing because I do have a lot of DMC thread duplicates. So not duplicates, multiple skeins of the same colours. So I did buy what I needed. So I have every skein in here of the DMCs, and in the back pocket I have my pattern, the specialty threads, the beads, and my one I'm stitching on 28 count Lugana in the gilded oak, and I'm so glad I went with this one. I think it goes this way, and I got part 1 done, part 1 complete, and then I fell behind part 2, 3 and 4 are out. However, I'm going to take this away with me this Christmas, and this is going to be my focus piece to get this one up to date. So absolutely love this one. I'm so glad there was 2 choices of fabric. There was this one, which is like the peachy purple, it's not purple, peachy pink, like golden neutral one, or there was like a green one, and I absolutely loved them, but everyone was going for the green, and I was like, do you know what, I'm gonna go for the gilded oak. I'm so glad I did because it's absolutely stunning. So that piece is coming away with me for this Christmas, and that is going to be one of my focus pieces. The last 2 pieces I have are also Autumn Lane Stitchery because I have to say they are one of my favourite designers. And the next one I'm stitching is Autumn Town, and I'm surprised that I haven't actually finished this. I also thought I was a lot further ahead on this one than I was, but this one I'm basically choosing my own colours. Some of them are the same, but I've used a lot of sulky. I converted this to sulky. This is when I got this pattern when I first got my sulky collection, and I was just so excited to use sulky that I converted it to my own sulky collection. The fabric I'm using is a Jodrell Designs. It's Jade Dragon 18 count, and I absolutely love it. All of the roofs I'm doing in different classic colourworks and Weeks dye works because I messed up. I picked the wrong colour and I decided, do you know what, I quite like my town having different coloured roofs. I'm not even sure if you can see that on the fabric. Maybe if I do that so you can see that you got darker, a mid-brown and then a lighter brown. So I am really enjoying that one. I'm hoping that next year this will be a finish. The last one I have here is one that I started last year. Haven't picked it up since. I don't have a photo, so I will try and remember to put one up here. This is the Autumn Lane Stitchery Let It Snow. This is the Autumn Lane Stitchery Let It Snow, and I'm stitching this on 20 count vintage country mocha. So I've turned it so it's really small, but I thought this would be a really fun like ornament or little pillow. And I love it. They have got Santa Claus is coming to town. I'll definitely be stitching that one as well. Probably on the same fabric, a 20 count vintage country mocha. But this is absolutely stunning. The difficulty I'm having is the 20 count is so difficult for me to see. I am on the fence as to whether I'm going to take this one this Christmas to work on or not, just because it is so difficult to see. But definitely something that I'm hoping by next year I will finish. So that is all of the WIPs that I have. As I said, a lot of them I have been like, oh, I want to get this finished. I want to stitch on that next year. And I mean it. I do really like these WIPs. I have got rid of some over the course of this year. So those ones, clearly, they just were no longer my style. I just definitely wasn't going to stitch them. And so on, so on. But the ones I have here are ones that I do enjoy. There's a couple that I am still on the fence about. Not a lot of very, very big pieces. There's like 2 or 3 larger size pieces. There's no large full coverage because I've tried that many times and it's just not my cup of tea. I don't mind a bigger piece if it's got lots of stitching. But the whole full coverage thing at the moment just isn't my cup of tea at all. I like to stitch smaller things because I don't actually have that much time to stitch. With my job, I finish really late in the evening. I start quite early in the morning. So there's not a whole lot of time to stitch, and I like to stitch things that are practical. So at the moment, a lot of my stuff that I stitch is small pillows and small Christmas ornaments because that is what I can display in my room. I can fit little pillows on my IKEA pegboard. I have a couple of pieces that I have hanging, and then I have things like the little bowl with some little finishes in. I absolutely love those kind of things, and those things at the moment really bring me joy because I can display them. I do have, I'm not sure if you can see it, it's tucked behind my angel, somewhere over there, is my Autumn Lane Stitchery, one of the Love Gathers Here pieces. Absolutely love that. That is stitched. It is in a frame. I've had that up for about 2 years now since I've stitched that one. But that is what I have. As I said, there are certain pieces. So my Dark Queen of the Earth Cell is going to be a focus piece when I head back home because I do have, I think I have a week off where my parents are, there's a weird shadow. My parents are at work, I'm at home, so they'll be taking the dogs out, there'll be little things like that, but I will have plenty of time to stitch. So I'm going to make sure I can try and get caught up on my stitching. As I said, I'll bring a couple of other little pieces, but I'm not going to go too mad because I always take a load of stuff and I don't actually stitch them. I'm hoping next year there'll be a couple that I don't think will finish, like the Dark Queen of the Sea Cell. She is just going to be put aside until I finish the Dark Queen of the Earth, because just having 2 of those on the go at one time I think is going to be too much, but they will definitely both get done. And some of the other pieces I'm hoping to get finished up before next Christmas. So that is everything I have to show you today. I'm hoping this video wasn't too long. It will probably go up as a Flossmas day of its own. And then I will open the advents on the next one, just because I don't want a video being over an hour long, and I have no idea how long this has been recording because my camera kept cutting out that I had to restart, so every little portion I have is about 10-15 minutes, and I'm not sure how many of those little portions have happened. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you all soon. As I said, this is my WIP Parade of 2022. I will not be doing another one before the end of the year. If I start new things, you'll see it in my Flossmas series. Unlike last year, I'm not sure I'm going to do a finishing video because I didn't get so many finishes. What I may do is the pieces that I definitely know I finished this year, because I haven't been very good on keeping up with my record keeping as much as I normally am. So if I definitely know I finished it this year, I will include it during the Flossmas series. If not, you'll see them as they come up through the FlossTube series. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all. I don't know when I'll see you because I don't know when this video is going up. So I will see you all within the next couple of days. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys!